I'm back with another bleach testing video, and today I'm finally getting around to something that a lot of you guys have been asking for, which is testing out the Bondbar hair bleach by Sally's Beauty. Now, a lot of you guys were actually surprised that I didn't test it out in my last Sally's Ultimate Bleach Guide video, but guess what? Sally's actually sent me the entire Bondbar collection, so that way we can put it to the real test. And of course, we're going to be testing this hair bleach on a level 2 swatch and see exactly where it falls on the Manelli scale. And if you're new here, my name is Mirella Manelli. I'm a hair educator who loves helping hairstylists simplify their skills in business. So please give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with a friend so that way we can get this video to the right people. Now let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you're a hairstylist or even a DIYer, I know how important it is to use the right bleach for your hair type. And Bondbar has been getting a ton of hype lately on social media, but doesn't live up to the professional standards that a lot of hairdressers are used to, especially with lifting dark hair. And if you're a DIYer, is this really a lightener you can use without risking your hair? So today we're not just testing lift, we're looking for consistency, viscosity, and overall integrity. And I'm really gonna be putting this lightener through all of the challenges, including the swell factor test, which a lot of you guys loved in my last video. So if you haven't seen that, I'm gonna link that one down below in the description. So first, let's get to know the lightener that we're going to be testing today, which is the Bondbar Bonding Technology Lightener that retails for $25.99 for a 16-ounce container. This lightener claims that it's an innovative formula designed to protect and hydrate the hair bonds during the lightening process. Now, some key features and benefits is that it reduces damage and breakage compared to standard lighteners. It's cruelty-free, vegan, phthalate-free, and paraben-free. Protects and hydrates hair bonds, maintains integrity of the hair, and it's for all hair types and textures. Now, what's really cool is you can purchase the bonding booster to add into your lightener mixture if you want to improve the combability and also reduce breakage. Now, the Bondbar bonding booster retails for $14.99 for an 8-ounce bottle. Now, the bonding booster claims to reduce hair breakage during the hair bleach and hair coloring process, which basically this is the ultimate pre-coloring treatment that you can use when dyeing your hair at home. So here's the deal. Your hair is made up of a bunch of bonds that's responsible for its strength, its health, and its shape. And when hair gets damaged, especially when you're bleaching and coloring it, those bonds break. And Bondbar Booster says it's going to help put a stop before the breakage even begins. Plus, there are 2 unique ways to use it. Now, the first way you can use the bonding booster is by adding in 1 pump to every 2 ounces of your color or bleach mixture. And then the second way is by adding in 1 pump to every 2 ounces of water for a treatment you can use in between chemical services. And then you're just going to follow up with the bond recovery treatment. Now, some key features and benefits of the bonding booster is that it's designed for all hair types and textures. It mixes with hair color and chemical treatments to repair and protect. It's SLS and SLES free, paraben free, phthalate free, vegan and cruelty free, and it comes in a recyclable bottle. So let's go ahead and test out 4 different swatches with 20 and 30 volume with and without the bonding booster. So let's go ahead and open this up because I've actually never used this lightener before, obviously because I didn't test it in my last video. And I'm already, oh, look at this. It is like a charcoal colored bleach. I'm actually quite surprised at that. And already off the bat, I love that it's in this container and it comes in this bag so we can dispense it, and it comes with a square. All right, so we already got a little bit of a dusty dust action going on here. Oh. Now, despite the dust, I do really like being able to dispense my lightener into a container like this. That's just a personal preference, or at least that it come in a bag that I can put it into my own container. Now, so far, this actually smells kind of nice, even though my camera person is smelling something completely different. Like fruity? Very slightly fruity, but I don't really know like the fragrance. I think we'll probably get a little bit more when we actually mix it with the developer. Let's go ahead and see the dust factor here. We already kind of got a glimpse of that. Kind of like middle, I would say this is kind of like middle of the road dust for me. Overall, the fragrance is not bad. I'm not hating it, and I definitely think we'll see a little bit more, like I said, when we mix it with the developer. So the way we're going to be mixing this up is at a 1:2 mixing ratio. That is the only mixing ratio option that it gave, although you can do 20 through 40 volume, and it does not recommend anything higher than 20 volume on the scalp. And then basically you can process this up to 50 minutes, room temperature, absolutely no heat. So let's go ahead and mix this up with our 20 volume mixing ratio first, with and without the booster. Now, Sally's Beauty was really gracious to send me everything I possibly needed for this test today, including the bowls, the whisk, and the brush. So thank you so much, Sally's. Now let's go ahead and dispense this. What we're really looking for here is a 2-ounce mixing ratio. So for this test, I'm going to be mixing up 18-ish grams of our lightener, and then we're gonna have a total of 56 grams of product in our bowl, so that way we're able to accurately measure 2 ounces of our mixture to our 1 pump of our booster when we get ready to add that in. It's kind of like feels a little like a sandy type texture so far. All right, so that's pretty close. We got 19 grams. And like I mentioned, this kind of feels like sand. It even dispensed like sand. We got a little bit of dust going on. Nothing super terrible. I don't hate the fragrance. And I don't know, I feel like this is gonna mix up pretty nicely. Okay, so first I'm gonna go in with the 20 volume. So I'm just gonna add my entire mixture to go to 56 grams in total. Okay, so let's go ahead and mix this up. This is literally reminding me a lot of the charcoal bleach lighteners that are out on the market right now. It has an interesting feel to it as I'm mixing it. It's kind of like slightly on the thinner side, but we'll see if within a minute or two it starts to thicken up like a lot of lighteners do. So far there's no clumps, there's no texture really to it, which is kind of nice and kind of promising. So now I'm gonna go ahead and mix up the second batch with the booster in it. Now that I have this mixed up, I'm gonna go ahead and put 1 full pump of the bonding booster. So it kind of just feels like water, to be honest. Has a little bit of like hydration to it for sure. Definitely not like, it doesn't feel like an oil, but it's mixing up pretty nicely and definitely diffused right into the mixture. So now let's go ahead and apply it to the swatch. Now that I have both mixtures mixed up, this first bowl actually already thickened up like I predicted. And I don't know, the brush test, the precision here, so far pretty good, but I'm actually excited to go ahead and get this on. So on this very top swatch here, I'm gonna go ahead and put the lightener mixture that does not have the booster in it. And basically what I wanna see here is how well it lifts, and then also the integrity, and if it affects the swell factor and just so many other things. So let's go ahead and get this on. And so far this feels kind of nice. Like I mentioned, it is kind of reminding me of a lot of the charcoal lighteners that are out on the market right now. So pretty on trend. It definitely is going through the hair really easily, and that's definitely something that I like. The only thing that I'm really not loving though is this brush that they gave me, but that's just more of a personal preference. It's still allowing me to get the product on pretty easily, but I am one to be really picky with my brushes. But overall, I do feel like with the mixture that I have going on, this is just like one side. Obviously I need to apply to the other side still, but saturation wise, it's going through pretty nicely. So now the first swatch is applied. I'm gonna go ahead and do the brush test to our second mixture. This is the one that has the Bond Booster inside of it, and I don't know, it's not really moving or anything, which is nice, and it's gonna give me a really good accuracy, which I like. Slightly a little bit thinner than the first mixture, but in the most subtle way possible, so nothing that's gonna alter it for my liking. So let's go ahead and get this on the swatch. Now obviously I changed my brush because it's just a personal preference of mine. I just feel like there's a little bit more flexibility with these brushes. I think that the bristles were just a little too stiff on the last brush, so it's just like pushing the product off of the swatch. But yeah, this is going through really nicely. So far there's nothing that I hate about this. I don't feel the little rocks or the little granules that I feel in a lot of bleach lighteners. This feels really smooth, and it is kind of interesting that it is a gray color, and I'm just kind of curious if it's actually going to alter the vision of like how it lifts once it's done processing. But I guess we'll find all of that out when the test is over. But yeah, this is pretty easy to move through the hair. I'm honestly kind of surprised. I do feel the slickness and hydration out of this so far, so I'm excited to see what the results are going to be in 50 minutes. So now let's go ahead and mix up our 30 volume mixture and really see if the developer choice can increase the swelling and also give us a little added lift. I mean, so far this is a very easy lightener to mix up. I feel like the directions are very easy to read and clear and not confusing, especially for the DIYer. I think obviously this is a lightener that's geared towards those DIY users. So having really clear instructions is imperative, because I think that's the main reason why people F up their hair at home, is because of user error, not really knowing how to use the products. So that is definitely something that I can appreciate so far from this brand. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix up the next mixture, but with the booster. So just a little added tip, if you are gonna be adding in the bonding booster, in my professional opinion, it's really important that you mix up your mixture first as instructed and then add in your booster. You're not going to want to do this at the same time. Kind of think of this as like baking, really. Like you are layering in certain mixtures together before you do your final product. All right, so let's go ahead and get these on the swatches. So far, I'm really liking this. As a professional, I just really like the viscosity that we got going on here. Yay, brush test, working amazing. This is the one without the booster. Let's go ahead and get this on. Now, the only thing I will say that this lightener does not say is how many levels of lift this is going to give us. This is information that I was not able to really find online, although a lot of people who use Bondbar really do love this lightener. Now, so far I can kind of see why, just because of the usability of it, I guess, and the instructions and how clear it is to use and the way it feels. It does feel really nice as you're putting this on. It definitely feels like a professional lightener. It feels like something that I would use in the salon. And the other thing it did not mention is if this is charcoal based or if this gray type of tone that we're seeing in this lightener is actually going to neutralize a lot of these yellow tones, much like a blue powder lightener would claim that the blue tones are going to help neutralize the yellow tones. Again, with a lot of these charcoal lighteners that I'm seeing out in the market, they do claim to help neutralize, and I have seen them firsthand actually neutralize really well, but this is something that Bondbar has not said on their packaging either. So I think the main thing as a professional is I would like to know is this charcoal based, and what is the reason behind it being gray? Now that I got this one on, let's go ahead and get the formula on with the bonding booster built inside. Little side note too, I love that the lightener does give you the option to use 40 volume. I know a lot of bleach lighteners don't. As a professional, there are some super rare cases where you kind of feel like you need to use something like a 30 or even a 40. And I know that sounds crazy because everyone on the internet and everywhere will tell you not use 40 volume with bleach lightener, but to me, when it tells me that, it's basically kind of gearing me towards this may be more on the gentle side of lightening, which I kind of like. I like that it gives me that versatility, and that's, as a professional, it's kind of what I'm looking for. And speaking of versatility, after applying this bleach lightener on 4 different swatches and just seeing the viscosity and how it glides onto the hair really nicely, and really the precision from it using the right brush, I definitely can see this lightener being used in multiple ways, whether it's on scalp, off scalp, in foils, and honestly even hair painting. So I'm excited to test this out a little bit more, but I'm even more excited to see where these swatches are going to go in about 50 minutes. And now we wait. While we wait for the 4 hair swatches to process, I wanted to just kind of mention one of the many products that Bondbar carries. Now, of course, they have a bunch of take-home products and even blue and purple shampoo, which sound really amazing. But one in particular that I think is really important to mention is the bonding recovery. Now, this is a treatment, a post-treatment that you would use immediately after doing their bleach. So this is something I haven't used yet, so I will be using it on the swatches just so that way I can see if it truly does improve the integrity, because this claims that it's going to help repair the damage after also, and this actually claims that it helps improve combability by up to 90% in just one use. So this is a really kind of cool at-home service that you can do at home as a DIYer, but I'm excited to give this a go and see if it makes a huge difference on our hair swatches, because to be honest, sometimes after doing a bleach test on the swatches, they can feel kind of dry even though we use a standard shampoo and conditioner, or salon quality shampoo and conditioner at that. So this will be kind of cool to see if it does improve that sleekness. So it's been 15 minutes with the 20 volume swatches. So immediately just looking at these, there is a little bit of swelling and puffy action in the foil. Nothing super terrible though. Now, one thing that's really interesting between the two is that the one swatch that doesn't have any of the booster in it is a little bit more puffy feeling than the one with the booster. So this is already an indication that adding in the Bond booster is probably going to help minimize any swelling. Now we'll take a look at the bowls in just a second, but just based off of the foils, that's what I'm gathering so far. So let's go ahead and take a little peek at what's going on inside of the foil. Looks like we got a really good lift, but kind of hard to tell per usual, because as you know, sometimes when there's color inside of the bleach, as this one has a little bit of that gray factor to it, it can play a little trick on your eye. Now there is a little bit of kind of little air pockets going on, but this will be really exciting to go ahead and wash out and see. It does feel really hydrated. Let's go ahead and take a feel for what the one with the booster has inside. So really similar lift. There's not really much of a difference so far from what I can see. Now there is a little bit of swelling going on in this one as well, but again, not as much as that first foil. And this one feels actually even more smoother than the first foil that we got going on here. So let's go ahead and wash this out and see where we're at. But before we wash these out, I do want to show you the swell factor that's in the bowl. Honestly, this is kind of minimal. I thought I was going to see some form of swelling, but I really don't in the bowl, which is kind of shocking considering that first foil did feel a kind of little puffy, but I really don't see any of those typical little clouds and pockets that are kind of going on in the bowl. And the same thing goes for the one with the booster. I really don't see much of a puffy puff action in the bowl. So pretty surprising. So far the swell factor on this is pretty minimal as far as what goes on in the bowl. A little bit of a difference as far as the foil. So let's now wash these out. Now it's been 15 minutes with the 30 volume swatches. So right off the bat, very similar to the 20 volume swatches. We got a little bit of puffy puff action, but nothing super crazy with the one swatch that does not have any booster in it. And the one that does have the booster, minimal swelling. Actually, I don't really feel very much, surprisingly, with the 30 volume. I'm kind of just kind of shocked, to be honest. And what we even got going on in the bowls, not a lot going on either with the swell factor. Usually the higher the developer, the more swelling we're gonna get. And I just kind of don't see that with these whatsoever. So I'm kind of shocked. But the one with the booster in it, no swelling really, like, at all. Like, this is kind of mind-blowing, to be completely honest. So this booster that we added into this is definitely a game changer as far as the swell factor goes. So let's go ahead and take a little peek at what is going on inside of this foil. This actually looks like a similar to lift to the 20 volume ones, but it'll be kind of hard. It looks a little lighter, but again, a little trick to our eye with this gray kind of tint that we got going on. But this feels really nice. I do feel the little air pockets from that swell action that we got going on, but lift looks really good. As a DIYer so far, this is probably looking like a pretty good lift for at home and something that feels pretty safe. And I am feeling that kind of slickness as I run my fingers through it. Surprisingly, this swatch right here that has the booster in it, it does appear to be a little darker, which is kind of shocking. But again, I don't know if the gray charcoalness is playing a trick on my eye, but this does feel really nice. You can really feel the silkiness and the hydration from that booster, which is pretty crazy. So let's go ahead and wash this off. Now that I have the swatches all shampooed, rinsed, and then treated with the bonding recovery treatment, I'm actually kind of surprised by the lift that we got. Now, before we get into the lift though, I do want to reveal my overall first impressions. I am actually super shocked at the integrity, the way that these swatches feel. Holy cow. Now, I did put the bonding recovery on all 4 of the swatches, whether it had the bonding in it or not, but these just feel so amazing. I've honestly never felt anything like it. So the fact of the claims that it makes it 90% more combable is definitely true. Like, I feel like this just feels so silky, and there's no product on this. This is just the recovery treatment and then rinsed out. So this just feels really amazing. So that's definitely the wow factor for me. Now, when it comes to the lift, a couple of things. With the 20 volume swatches, now I actually was still kind of surprised. We did get to what I think is about a 7.5. Definitely probably a 7.5, but let's go ahead and size this up to the level finder to really see exactly where it falls. I just feel like overall, I've been doing these tests for so long, I kind of have like a good eye at this point of a 7, 7.5, 7.75, 8. And really we're always looking for an 8. And then just right off the bat looking at this, immediately I can instantly see that it's not quite a 7, it's not quite an 8. It definitely falls in that 7.5 range for me with the 20 vol developer. However, in comparison to the level 2 swatch, we still got an amazing lift, especially for a DIYer's at-home bleach. I'm kind of surprised that we got this level of lift and this level of integrity at that. Like, this just feels so amazing. It does feel like I can 100% do another go round of bleach lightener. Now, I'm not saying definitely go do that, because if you are working with compromised hair, you know if you bleach compromised hair, it's going to make it even more compromised. But if you have relatively healthy hair and then it feels really good immediately after, it might be in an okay condition to do round 2 of lightener. So I kind of like that option and that flexibility of buildable lift, if you will. But overall, you know, I always am looking for that magic level 8 in one session, and this just quite didn't get me there, but nonetheless, we're still at a 7.5 and something that I can tone on the warmer side. Now, when it comes to the 30 volume swatches, I honestly was kind of surprised. So the swatch that has no bonder in it actually lifted slightly higher than the swatch with no bonder in it. But let's go ahead and size it up right next to the level finder to see truly how much lift we got from this. Now, immediately looking at this, I can tell you that the swatch that has no bonder in it whatsoever actually lifted to a solid level 8. Rightfully so, because we are using a higher developer. It did give us that extra little nudge that the hair needed, or the swatch needed. Now, when it came to the one with the bonder built into it, we kind of see still slightly higher from the 7.5 with the 20 vol, but it just quite didn't get us to the 8. I'm kind of guessing we're at a 7.75 with this one. Now, looking at these swatches side by side to the level 2 swatch, you can see we got a significant amount of lift for a one-shot go round, and the hair feels just as amazing as the 20 volume swatches. So again, integrity wise, this product definitely blew me away, whether you're using the bonder in it or not. Now, the hair that does have the bonder in it, it is slightly smoother, but I really think that bonding recovery treatment really does the magic trick here along with the bonder. I mean, it's definitely like an all-round experience to feel like the integrity from this, but I would say, like, if you didn't have Bondbar or the booster treatment to go into it, I probably would like to try the recovery treatment on its own and see if I still get the same result, because that's the product that really blew me away in this. So where does Bondbar land on the Manelli scale? Now, there were a couple key factors that really stood out, and one of those was the lift. Now, when it came to the lift, it honestly wasn't the greatest lift I've ever seen out of a bleach lightener, but when it comes to a non-professional bleach lightener, I think this one's a solid. We definitely got up to 7 levels of lift with this, and being that I didn't really know exactly how many levels of lift we were going to get because there were no claims on that, I think this one kind of surprised me in that area. Now, when it comes to hair integrity, this is where Bondbar really shines. I just felt like the integrity is hands down the best I've ever felt. Everything from the bond additive that we put in all the way to the treatment that we put in immediately after, that really blew me away. I just love how combable it was, how soft it felt, and honestly, with the 20 volume swatches, I just definitely felt like I could add another layer of bleach lightener to do a second go round on the same day. Now, of course, I would tell you be on the side of caution with that, because using bleach lightener can be kind of tricky sometimes, and I don't want you to fry off your hair at home, but definitely just know integrity wise, this ranked extraordinarily high on the Manelli scale. The next category that stood out to me was the swell factor. I felt like the swelling was pretty minimal. Of course, we did get a little bit of swelling in the foil, but when it came to what was going on in the bowl, the product still felt really silky and creamy, and I didn't see any of those bubbles kind of going on. And the bonus was the swatches with the booster had even less swelling than the swatches that didn't have the booster in it. And overall swelling is a huge factor for me, so this is definitely a win in my book. And the last key factor that really stood out to me was its versatility. Now, while there wasn't a lot of different mixing ratios to choose from, this is a bleach lightener that I felt comfortable enough to use 10 through 40 volume, and then even be able to do on and off scalp foil application. And I definitely think this is a lightener that I could play around with some hair painting too. Now, overall, this scored a 78 on the Manelli scale, which is pretty high for a non-professional bleach lightener. Now, while this wasn't the highest lifting bleach that I've ever tested, when it came to integrity and accessibility, this definitely is a solid bleach lightener for any person doing their hair at home that has a high concern for the best integrity type of lift that they're looking for. Now, the big question is, would I recommend this? Now, if you are a professional hairstylist working with really dark hair, looking to take your client from that level 2 to that level 9, 10 platinum blonde, you might want to stick along the lines of a professional higher end bleach. But if you're a DIYer looking for a product that's going to balance lift and protection, Bondbar lightener might be a great bleach for you. Big thanks to Sally's Beauty for gifting me this entire collection, and if you want to try out Bondbar for yourself, I'm going to link everything that I used in this video down below in the description. And if you're curious exactly where the other bleach lighteners land on the Manelli scale, be sure to check out my other bleach lightener videos right here on my channel. Let me know in the comments if you've tried Bondbar out for yourself, or if there's another bleach lightener that you would like me to test here on my channel. Now, for more ways to learn from me, you can follow me on my other social channels like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, all under Mirella Manelli. And to get more education sent right to your inbox, be sure to head on over to my website, mirellamanelli.com, and sign up for my newsletter. And if you're a hairstylist looking to level up your skills and business, I don't want you to miss out on open enrollment for Airbnb University. It's where confidence behind the chair starts right here, and all you have to do to get on the wait list is head on over to airbnbuniversity.com. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking with me. I truly hope you enjoyed this video, so make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and I will see you in the next one.